Hello everybody, Lotu for Life here, bringing you guys a brand new archetype analysis. So, Nephthys. Oh wow, okay, this deck, along with the last deck from Forbidden Summoners or Hidden Summoners, whatever the heck it's called, I borderline considered doing an archetype overhaul on them instead, but they're so new, I feel like that'd be kind of just mean. Okay, now, that being said, I like Nephthys as an archetype. It's a cool little idea. I like the art. I like the idea, you know, rituals and links together. It's a really, really cool thing. And heck, Nephthys was one of my first holographic cards as a kid. So, needless to say, I was hyped for this disaster of a deck. Oh boy. Okay, let me just had to get it out, okay? So, yeah, as you can imagine, this deck is not particularly great. I do think it is the second best of the Hidden Summoners archetypes of, oh crap, what are they called? Mayakasi, being the worst, and then obviously Prank Kids being the best. But, I mean, the difference between Nephthys and Mayakashi in terms of power is so negligible. I mean, at least Nephthys has plays they can do. But I digress. Let's get into this deck and start ripping it a new one. So, first and foremost, what does this deck do? It is basically Fire Kings. Like, literally, it is basically Fire Kings, but half as good, okay? And Fire Kings is already a deck that has not seen much competitive success. So if you take an already, like, tier 2 deck, cut its power in half, make it Link and Ritual focused, what do you get? You get Nephthys. Okay? It's such a weird conundrum, because this deck, if it wasn't for some clauses on them, most notably being that almost every single Nephthys monster has an effect that activates when they're destroyed. But you gotta wait till your next standby phase. It's not the next standby phase like Fire Kings. It's not it's not like the following standby phase. It's your next standby phase. Which means unless you destroyed them during your opponent's turn, you gotta wait the rest of your turn, all of your opponent's turn, and then you get it during your standby phase, during your turn. This is a really obnoxious clause that they made it, and along with a bunch of other things that they just made this deck so overly balanced. Okay, I'm all for balance in a deck, but when you make it so overly balanced, the deck doesn't have any really broken plays without relying on outside support, it gets really stupid. So, yeah, now the deck, it's comprised of two subsections, the Winged Beasts and the Spellcasters. The Winged Beasts are typically the boss monsters, while the Spellcasters facilitate the Winged Beasts. Kinda going without saying there. The other nice thing is that the deck is focused on links and rituals. We'll get to that here shortly. The ritual aspect is definitely to start a show, and is a heck of a lot better than the link aspect. But however, the link aspect, or at least one of the two links, is still important enough to where you gotta play it and actually link summon every now and then. Oh boy, okay, I gotta like calm down because I'm borderline wanting to rant on this deck. So first and foremost, let's get the original Nephthys cards out of the way. There's the Sacred Phoenix of Nephthys and the Hand of Nephthys. These two cards served as the fundamental grounding point for what the rest of the archetype would do like 12 years later when they got the rest of their support. Sacred Phoenix of Nephthys is a level 8, if I remember right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? 4, 4, 8. Yeah, cool, I can do math. 8. It's a level 8 Sacred Winged Beast. Not the Sacred Beast, it's a Winged Beast. Although it is based on Horus, the same thing as a Ra, really, kind of. Once per turn, during your next standby phase, after this card was destroyed by a card effect and sent to the graveyard, spell summon this card from the graveyard. If you do, destroy all spells and traps on the field. If this sounds familiar to you Fire King players, it's because, well, this thing is literally a reversed version of High King Avatar Garunix, or whatever it's called. Except it destroys spells and traps. It's mandatory to destroy all the spells and traps, and that gets kind of obnoxious. Especially considering that this deck does have a few spells and traps. Granted, the one trap it does have is made to plus off of that, so it is kind of cool that they do have that synergy. Of course, though, there is the issue that it's during your next standby phase, not the next standby phase. Again, that's really where that whole clause comes from. And, you know, Garunix has the ability to summon itself during your opponent's turn. That is great. You know, pop all of your opponent's monsters during their turn. Great, great, great. You know, just destroy everything, disrupt their plays. If they're trying to do some shenanigans during the standby phase, cool. Your next standby phase, yeah, sure, you're doing it after your opponent has probably set all their spells and traps, but they got a full turn to really watch it coming, and you know, they probably set, and now that it's been a full turn, they have the ability to respond to it, which is really, really obnoxious, but I digress. Then there's the Hand of Nephthys, the worst of the spellcasters for the deck, and yeah, it's because it's so old. It used to be really good back in the day, but nowadays, there's no reason to play her, even though I do gotta admit, I do love her artwork. So she's a level 2 spellcaster, wind, 600 attack, 600 defense, and then you contribute this card and one other monster, special summon one Sacred Phoenix of Nephthys from your hand or deck. Pretty nice effect, you know, tribute 2 monsters, get something from your hand or deck, you know, get your big boss monster of 2400 attack. It basically is letting you tribute summon Sacred Phoenix of Nephthys, but it summons it from the deck and stuff. That is nice, but it doesn't have the refinements that were given to the other spellcasters when they came out to really make them up to date. There is literally no reason to play Hand of Nephthys. If she like destroyed herself in one other monster, or could pop a monster in your hand in addition to tributing herself to summon Sacred Phoenix of Nephthys, that would make more sense, because then you can pop one of your other Nephthys cards and get some pluses off of that. But no, you got to tribute a monster, and the deck gets no pluses off of tributing, so there's literally no reason to play her. Moving on, oh yeah, I guess I should mention, you kind of got to play Sacred Phoenix of Nephthys. I would say 2 to 3. It really comes down to your preference. But anyway, so moving on to the actual new cards. We got Disciple of Nephthys. Basically what she does is she's attack, she has 0 attack, 2000 defense, she's a spellcaster, level 2 wind. During your main phase, you can destroy 1 card in your hand, and if you do, add 1 Nephthys monster from your deck to your hand, except a copy of herself. During your next standby phase, after this card was destroyed by card effect and sent to the graveyard, you can add 1 Nephthys spell or trap card from your deck to your hand. You can only use each effect of Disciple of Nephthys once per turn. So, Disciple is arguably the best of the main deck Nephthys monsters that are not ritual monsters. She literally just pops a monster, searches out another Nephthys, and then if she's destroyed, you get to search out a Nephthys spell or trap card during your next standby phase. That's where the issue is. That really is. If on destruction you immediately got that search, the deck could probably do some stuff. But no, you gotta wait till your next standby phase after she's destroyed to get to search the spells or traps. Now granted, there's only really 1 spell that's worth playing, and that's the ritual spell. So, and there's a million other ways to get to it, to your hand easily, because well, it's a ritual spell. Rituals have a ton of support. So, you know, it's not like the worst thing in the world. But, however, it does set the precedent for the rest of the archetype, in that every single one of them, their destruction effects, you gotta wait till your next standby phase. That is really obnoxious and not good at all. Now, that being said, though, her on-field effect to destroy a monster and search out any Nephthys monster whatsoever, and then also, of course, you can pop another Disciple, or heck, any other Nephthys in your hand to, well, be able to get their effects during your next standby phase. This card is really good, and is, generally speaking, the one that you want to open up with the most often, because you just normal summon her, pop a dude, or I guess they're all girls, so pop a girl, and then, that sounds really weird, add another Disciple, or, well, not Disciple, but add any of your Nephthys monsters, and then continue on with your plays from there. That being said, you definitely got to play 3. She's the search card of the deck. She's the Stratos. There's no reason not to play 3 of her. And then we got Defender of Nephthys. Boy. So, she's a level 2, obviously spellcaster wind, like of everybody else. 1400 attack, 200 defense. Oh god, is it said that she has like the highest attack of the spellcasters at 14? Really just poor stats on all of the level 2 spellcasters. But anyway, so during your main phase, you can destroy 1 card in your hand, and if you do, special summon a level 4 or lower Nephthys monster from your hand, except a copy of herself. During your next standby phase, after this card was destroyed by a card effect and sent to the graveyard, you can destroy 1 Nephthys monster in your deck, except Defender of Nephthys. You can only use its effect over once per turn. So, the whole point of Defender of Nephthys is to combo off and get stuff out of your hand. You pop a dude in your hand, you summon out another one, and then you go off from there. The only issue with that is, it's a neg. It really is. You gotta neg yourself to be able to summon out another thing. Ideally, that means you'll have to have 3 Nephthys cards. Herself, a Nephthys you want to summon, and a Nephthys you want to pop. That is over half your hand, technically. I mean, 5 cards, opening hand, 2.5 cards, technically would be half your hand, so rounding up, it's over half your hand, to be able to do any plays. Now, unlike a number of the other cards in the deck, she doesn't negate the effect of the monster you summon, which is really good, so you do get to do combos off of that, but however, that also still makes it to where if you want to do any of their other effects, to be able to pop a dude in your hand, you gotta have another card in your hand that you want to pop. So ideally, you'll want to have 4 cards in hand that can combo. Okay, so a card you want to pop, a card you want to summon, another. Actually, no, that'd require your whole hand. A Nephthys to pop with that. Okay, oh, actually, no, that wouldn't be your whole hand, but that'd still be 4 cards. That's way too much. Granted, due to this being the deck's playstyle, you do get to go off from there, but that is a lot of I cannot speak today. Necessities or needs. You need a lot of needs to be able to do stuff, okay? That's a bit much for what the deck can do. That being said, I do recommend 2 of them, kind of 3, depending on what build you're going to play. There's really like 3 versions of Nephthys. There's the pure build, there's the true Draco build, and then there's the Fire King build. Whichever one you prefer, it comes down to you. Personally, I don't really have any preference over one or the other. The Fire King build, though, is the one that I've played a lot, so yeah, and in the Fire King build, I would definitely play 2 of her. Kind of 3, maybe, depending on how much you like her, so I don't know. Moving on, we got Chronicler of Nephthys. Oh boy. So, 300 attack, 1200 defense. Same stats as everybody else, really, for the level and attribute and all that. You can target 1 Nephthys card in your graveyard, except a copy of herself. Destroy 1 card in your hand, and if you do, add that target to your hand. During your next standby phase, after this card was destroyed by card effect and sent to the graveyard, you can add 1 Nephthys card from your graveyard to your hand, except a copy of herself. This card, I actually really like overall. Yes, it doesn't immediately get any combos or anything going off, but however, excuse me, in a deck that really does focus on just destroying everything and getting stuff in the graveyard, because you're going to be popping everything so much, having a recycler for your monsters and your spells and traps and stuff is very, very handy, especially since you'll be having to pop everything. Moreover, the deck has 1 ritual spell that you gotta share between the 2 ritual monsters, and you tend to burn through them pretty quick. And seeing as how, while yes, there's dozens of ways to get ritual spells to your hand from your deck, there's not too many to get them from your graveyard to your hand. I mean, wait, did I say to hand? Anyway, so yeah, there's dozens of ways to get ritual spells from deck to hand. There's not so many ways to get them from graveyard to hand. And so being able to get them from your graveyard to your hand is really nice with her. And due to that, I really do think that she's like a solid 2 to 3 of. It does come down to which build you're playing and how heavy you want to focus on the ritual aspect. Moving on, Matriarch of Nephthys. So 600 attack, 600 defense. Judging by her stats and her artwork, I'm guessing she's supposed to be an upgraded version of the Hand of Nephthys, or whatever she was called. Yeah, Hand of Nephthys. So, yeah, I'm kind of getting that feeling, maybe. I don't know, am I the only one? Anyways, so you can target 1 level 4 lower Nephthys monster in your graveyard, except a copy of herself, destroy 1 card in your hand, and if you do, spell summon that target in defense position. But negate its effects. I could end it right there, okay? Why does this card negate the monster that you're summoning, okay? Why does it negate their effects? Was this deck so powerful that you need to do it? Yes, you can bring back even the rituals and stuff, but there was no reason to negate their effects. That really hinders what this deck needs to do. As a deck that really does get a lot of stuff in the graveyard very easily, there is no reason that you shouldn't be able to just get stuff back from the graveyard and continue on with your plays immediately. You know, how nice would it be if you could use her effect, bring back a Disciple, then use Disciple's effect to search? Why can't you do that? Other decks get that. Why doesn't this deck do it? This deck is in the need of as much help as it can, and you lock off the effects for just being summoned from the graveyard. That's so insane. Okay, anyways, also because it summons in defense, you can't bring back the links, which is mildly annoying. Granted, they're only really good in the extra monster zone, so I don't know why you would, but nah, it's just another combo thingy. Then anyways, during the standby phase after she was, well, your next standby phase, after this card was destroyed by a card effect and sent to the graveyard, you can spell summon this card from the graveyard. You can only use each effect of Matriarch once a turn. The big thing with Matriarch, other than how she negates the thing and that you bring back with her, is that she does come back herself. She is basically a mini Nephthys in that sense. So you bring her back, you use her effect to pop something, bring back something else, you pop her, then you get to bring her back next turn, do it again. It's kind of nice. It is kind of cool. Due to the fact that she is the only one who can summon herself back from the graveyard, I do think that she is a solid 2 of, because she can recur herself. If you really like that graveyard respawning though, I guess 3, because you need to be able to bring back your stuff from your graveyard to do stuff. Granted, their effects are negated, so you're not really getting anything. Moving on, we got the first of the 2 ritual monsters, Devotee of Nephthys. She's a level 2 wind spellcaster, ritual effect monster, 1200 attack, 1200 defense. You can ritual summon this card with Rebirth of Nephthys, and you can only use each of the following effects of Devotee of Nephthys once per turn. If this card is ritual summoned, you can activate this effect, special summon 1 Nephthys monster from your deck. Also, during the end phase, destroy this card. Yeah, that's pretty nice, you know, just get and bring back, well, summon any Nephthys from your deck. Really, really, really good. That's any Nephthys. You can bring out the big one, you can bring out the original Sacred Phoenix, you can bring out any of your combo pieces, you can make more plays, you can do all sorts of crazy stuff with her. Really good card overall, just for that alone, really. Then also she has a nice revival effect on top of that. If she's in the graveyard, you can destroy 1 Nephthys card in your hand, and if you do, spell summon it. This is really meant to be used in combination with the other Nephthys to be able to, you know, make plays, but also to be able to make the Link monsters, because the big boss of the Links requires ritual monsters, or rather, if you use ritual monsters to Link summon it, you get bonus effects, and and well, this is one of the easiest ways to go about doing that. Is that particularly good? No, but however, this does help out. Oh yeah, by the way, play 3. Like, really, I don't need to say that anymore. Cerulean Sacred Phoenix of Nephthys. Basically, Nephthys turned blue and gained 600 more attack power. Same stats though, level 8, say Wing Beast, Fire. Then basically also you can ritual summon it using Rebirth of Nephthys, and you can only use each of the following effects of Sacred Phoenix once per turn. During your main phase, you can destroy Nephthys cards in your hand and or face up on the field and destroy an equal number of monsters your opponent controls. I really wish this could be any card, not just monsters that you can destroy on your opponent's side of the field. Why does this not let me destroy spells and traps? Okay, like, that was the whole freaking point of Nephthys. Okay, I get it. You pop your old Sacred Phoenix of Nephthys, and then she comes back and then it does away with the spells and traps, and that is a nice little combo, but that is, I still wish that you could single target and get rid of them. Now, that being said, it doesn't actually target, which is nice. You don't target, it does destroy though, so it does get around targeting protection, which is really, really, really good. Then during your next standby phase, if it's destroyed by battle or card effect and sent to the graveyard, you can special summon this card from the graveyard. Really nice little thing there is that, unlike the other cards in the deck, if this thing is destroyed by battle, it does come back. That really, really, really does help. So you have a really good recurrable boss monster that has really good effects to be able to pop stuff and then just constantly comes back. Really good stats too. I kind of wish there was a dragon so you could search it with Melody, but I mean, you got to keep up with the Wing Beast thing. So on that note, because it's another recurrable one, I kind of lean more towards 2 in certain builds. But however, I can totally see why you'd want to play 3, especially considering that the ritual spell grants you a bonus if you use one of the rituals as a tribute. So yeah. Next up, we got Nephthys, the Sacred Preserver. This is one of the 2 links. So basically, it needs 2 Nephthys monsters. You can only use each of the following effects of Nephthys, the Sacred Preserver once per turn. During your main phase, if this card is link summon, you can activate one of these effects. Add 1 Wing Beast monster from your deck to your hand, then you can add 1 ritual spell from your graveyard to your hand. Or you can destroy 1 Nephthys monster this card points to, and spell summon 1 Nephthys monster of a different original name from your graveyard, but negate its effects. God dang it. Okay, so, oh boy. Okay, before we talk about the good effect, let's talk about the annoying one. Destroy a Nephthys monster you control that it points to, and then summon a Nephthys with a different name from your graveyard, but its effects are negated. Why is this there again? For a graveyard-centric deck, why is it that both of the ways that the deck has to summon monsters from the graveyard, except through their own effects, negates their effects? That is stupid. It is so incredibly stupid. That being said, though, the main reason why you play this card is for the first effect. You get to add any level 8 winged beast monster from your deck to your hand, and then you can add one of your ritual spells from your graveyard to your hand. So that's more recursion for the ritual spells, and even better, you can add either the original Sacred Phoenix of Nephthys, or you can add the ritual version. There's also other level 8 winged beasts that you can play in the deck for tech options that you can search as well, but that's down to you. So this card, due to that, is a really solid 2 to 3 of. It really is just really good for that right there, just being able to search and recur. It is literally a preparation of rites for Nephthys in a monster form. And if you can keep it from dying, you can get that every turn. I mean, granted, also, it's not the hardest thing in the world to make, so you don't have to worry about that too much either. But, however, just something to really note there. Next up, we got Nephthys, the Sacred Flame. Technically speaking, this is the boss monster you're working to, and yeah, I'd rather just stick with Cerulean. So, it needs 2 or more monsters, including a ritual monster. When this card, while this card is in the extra monster zone, monsters your opponent controls cannot target Nephthys monsters in the main monster zone for attacks. This card gains effects based on the number of ritual monsters used for its link summon. 1 or more cannot be destroyed by battle. 2 or more cannot be destroyed by card effects, also gains 1200 attack. 3, neither player can target this card with card effects, also it gains another 1200 attack. So, if you use 3 rituals to summon this, you get a big beefy, let's see here, 4800 beater that cannot be targeted by card effects, destroyed by battle, or destroyed by card effects. That is really good, but for the amount of effort you gotta work into getting this thing, you should have already won. You really should have. If I'm going to summon 3 rituals to summon this thing, I should have already won. Really, in all honesty. And, I mean, granted, yes, having a big, beefy 4800 that can't be destroyed, can't be targeted, can't be anything, is nice. It's just clear kaiju bait. Kaijus. Granted, kaijus aren't really as popular nowadays, but however, depending on what you're doing against, like dinos or something, they're just going to kaiju it. So, it really, I'm really iffy on this card. For as cool as it is, as cool as the artwork, and honestly, is it just weird? Does that look like an Odd Eyes monster? I don't see any reason to play more than 1. And even then, I can see a complete and total justifiable reason not to play it at all. So, I think it's a good one-of for the off chance that you do get the ability to summon it. But for the amount of effort and work that you gotta do to summon this thing, you're just better off summoning triple to Cerulean dude and going for game. There's really no reason for trying to make any concerted effort to summoning this. It's really more, oh, I just happen to be able to summon this. I summon it. 4800, untargetable, undestructible. Okay, cool, I win. Oh, boy. Moving on, we got the Rebirth of Nephthys, the ritual spell. Okay, so it's a pretty standard ritual spell. You tribute monsters you control. It can be used to ritual summon any Nephthys ritual monster. It's also a tribute monster from your hand or field whose total levels equal or exceed the level of the ritual monster you ritual summon. Cool. But the nice thing is that if you tributed either of the 2 ritual monsters, you can destroy a card on the field, which is pretty nice. And because it specifically lists the 2 ritual monsters in the name, like in that bottom part there, you can search this with pre-prep. That is really good. My only real issue is that this doesn't do much. It is a bog standard ritual spell. Nowadays, for a ritual deck to be really, really good, it has to be able to do, the ritual spell has to be able to do more than just ritual summon. You know, you look at Vendreads, and heck, even Vendreads did ritual spells better, you know? With the first one being able to ritual summon from hand or grave and banishing zombies to summon stuff, and then the second one being able to use monsters from the deck. And this just doesn't. You can pop a card if you used one of the rituals to summon another ritual. That's cool and all, but that's not that much. And yeah, the ritual, the popping is nice for being able to pop your own stuff and get your own effects, or you can pop your opponent's stuff to get that. It just isn't much. Moreover, I kind of wish that this destroyed the monsters that you tributed. So imagine if it said the monsters you use to tribute to ritual summon, they're treated as being destroyed or something like that. You know, that would be really good, because then for summoning the big level 8, you can destroy 4 of your level 2s, right? 4 of your level 2s, and then get all their effects next turn. Now, granted, that's not particularly amazing because you gotta, that's a lot of investment for something crazy. But however, it still would have been nice to be able to destroy them and then get bonus effects during your next standby phase, So, I don't know, maybe I'm just being too wishy-washy with what I want, but I don't know. And, it's kind of obvious you gotta play 3. It's a ritual spell. It's the only ritual spell in the deck, and until they get a better one, you gotta play 3. Moving on, we got Last Hope of Nephthys. Okay, so target one other Nephthys card you control and one card your opponent controls. Destroy them. You can only activate one Last Hope of Nephthys. So, you target one other Nephthys card and one card your opponent controls. Destroy both. And you can only use one of this per turn.
Huh?
Why is... Okay. I have a lot of issues with this card. You gotta use this card, you gotta pop another card, and then you get to pop a card your opponent controls, and you can only use one of this per turn. Okay, now granted, the destruction of one other Nephthys card and one card your opponent controls happens at the same time. That is nice, I guess, that might have some sort of interactions, but you gotta use 2 cards to destroy one card your opponent controls. If this is like, target one Nephthys card you control, accept this card, pop 2 cards your opponent controls, make it even, I can understand, but you're losing so much to destroy one card. Now, granted, yes, obviously your Nephthys cards will give you more stuff next turn. A whole turn later, you might still be alive. Congrats. That's literally all this does, too. If this doesn't have any other effect, it doesn't do anything else. Why does this not have, like, some sort of grave effect, like, oh, your Nephthys would be destroyed by battle? Okay, banish it instead. Why does this not do anything? This literally does nothing. It's a pop a monster, or sorry, pop a card, and maybe get you something if you survive the next turn. Okay? That's nice and all. That's kind of cool. And you know what? I'll be honest, I love this artwork. It is a beautiful artwork. But it is hot garbage. This is easily the worst card in the Archetype, and it's the only other spell card that they have other than the freaking ritual spell. What the heck? Okay, oh god. Let's talk about the trap card too. So, Awakening of Nephthys, continuous trap card. All Nephthys monsters you control gain 300 attack. Cool. Their lowest attack, their attack is so low that 300 attack does nothing. That makes their strongest non-big boss Nephthys, Phoenix. That makes their strongest non-Phoenix 1700 attack. 1700. Okay, you're not going to be punching over or anything. Okay, congrats. On the nice side, though, that's kind of not really what this is used for. If this face-up card in the spell and trap card zone is destroyed by a card effect and sent to the graveyard, you can spell summon one Nephthys monster from your hand, deck, or graveyard, but destroy it during the end phase. You can only use this effect of Awakening of Nephthys once per turn. So, okay, let's theoretically say you are playing this. You said it, you popped your Regarded Sacred Phoenix of Nephthys, it's your opponent's standby phase, it's your following standby phase. Nephthys comes back, you chain this card, it gets destroyed, and then hey, you get to freely special summon any Nephthys from your deck. Woohoo! You got one special summon. Oh, sorry, from hand, deck, or graveyard. So, okay, cool. And it's one of the few cards that can summon from graveyard in this deck that does not negate that card's effects. Wow. Riveting. You did all that. You waited a full turn and popped your own thing to be able to get a free summon from anywhere. Oh boy. Okay, so I know I say here run at discretion, but I really can't recommend running this. I can see why some people would make the argument too, because if you use it in tandem with Last Hope of Nephthys, that is a break even. Okay, cool, you activate this, you use an Last Hope, pop this, pop a card your opponent controls, Awakening of Nephthys summons a dude from deck, or grave, or hand. Cool. But, this is a trap card, you gotta wait a full turn anyways to activate it. You might as well just wait and chain it to your Nephthys for coming back. Or summon the other one and pop it, my biggest thing is that you have to, it has to be face up. Why does this have to be face up? Why can't it be face down, and my opponent blindly MSTs it, and then, hey, I get a free search. Okay, now granted, you know, I can still chain it, and then it gets destroyed while it's face up, and I get to search, well, not search, but special summon, you know what I mean. So, that is kind of cool, but it really, God, it's a sad day in hell when only one spell card in an archetype is worth playing, and it's literally required to play the deck because it's a ritual spell in a ritual archetype. God, I don't know what Konami was thinking with this archetype. I really don't. Okay, so outside support, what does it have? Well, as I mentioned earlier, you have Pure, you have Fire King, and then you have Dragonic Diagram, basically, okay? The Fire King deck, the Fire King version is, honestly, in my opinion, it's the best version of the deck. They have the most synergy. You can do the Garunix loop with it and just go off, and it's really silly, and I love it. But, however, the deck doesn't really have much going for it other than just basically heavily relying on the Fire King stuff, and honestly, you're doing a disservice to Fire Kings playing the Nephthys stuff in there, but hey, float your own boat, I guess. The Pure version isn't particularly bad, per se. It's just kind of there. The big thing is that you're focusing on the rituals. I'd say it's about even with the Fire King version, although the Fire King version has more consistency, I would say, as they actually can do more stuff overall. And then, of course, there's the True King version, which really is basically just abusing Dragonic Diagram. But, however, if you're going to do that, you might as well just use the Fire King version, because they actually have actual synergy with the deck. So, yeah. Okay. So, the deck is just plain okay. It's the definition of mediocrity. It's not particularly bad. It's not good, though, either. It's just there. It's mediocrity. It's mediocre at its finest. The big thing is that it's way too slow. There's way too many restrictions. Why is it that the two big cards in the deck that can summon monsters from the graveyard lock off that monster's effects? Why is it that in order to get the destruction's effects, I have to wait not until the next standby phase, but my next standby phase in order to get the bonus effects? Why is it that this deck has such a low power ceiling that it's not even funny? Okay, why is it that this deck's boss monster is so laughably hard to summon that the deck might not even well as try? I don't get it. Why is it that this deck only has one, count them, one good spell or trap card, and it's the freaking ritual spell that you have to play in the deck? I don't get it. What was Konami thinking with this archetype? Okay, heck, I can say that about hidden summoners in general with my Akashi, and oh god, I can't wait to rip that deck a new one, because I am a big zombie fan, and that deck, oh god, that deck will just rip my poor heart and soul out. Okay, this archetype had a lot of potential. It really did. When they were first revealing the leaks for Nephthys, I got hyped. I was like, screw Prank Kids, screw my Akashi, I really want to play Nephthys. And then we got more and more stuff, and we got getting more and more stuff, and I'm like, is this it? What the heck happened? I really don't get it. What? Oh god, does Konami not like having more good archetypes or something? You know, at least make it playable as a fun rogue deck, you know? Oh god, I got a migraine coming. Okay, so that's my thoughts on Nephthys as a whole. The deck is the sheer definition of mediocrity. I like it. It's a fun deck to play while just goofing around on YgoPro, but I don't recommend building this deck IRL unless like you really like it. I mean, granted though, it is super cheap. You can find a whole core for like $30, and even that's too much in my opinion. So I don't know. If you really like it, cool. Give it a try. I like the art. That's like the big thing, honestly, with the art overall. It's beautiful. Heck, you can say that about almost all the stuff out of Heaven Set and Summoners. But I digress. So what are your guys' thoughts on Nephthys? What do you think the deck needs? Personally, I would really like to see a field spell of some sort that like makes it to where you don't have to wait a full freaking turn and maybe, you know, get some sort of bonus for being destroyed. I don't know. It'd be nice. So guys, what are your guys' thoughts? What do you think they need? Do you think, how hard do you think Konami screwed up with the deck? Am I completely wrong about this? Am I not seeing something? What are your guys' thoughts and opinions? Thank you all for watching. Have a great day. It's your birthday. Happy birthday. See y'all later. Peace.